Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. News, rumors, stories, game recaps, anything and everything New Jersey Devils. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And now, the much-anticipated day has come and gone, the NHL Draft. There were no fireworks to be had, no big trades. Nothing exciting for the most part, and the Devils decide to draft with the number 10 overall pick. And with the number 10 overall pick, the New Jersey Devils select Anton Silayev of the KHL. And there's a lot to get to here on this pick. This is a 6'7", 18-year-old defenseman, and he was projected on most mock drafts to be a top 5 pick. I did not expect him to fall to the New Jersey Devils. I know a lot of people are kind of upset that we didn't get Dickinson or maybe the kid from Denver. A lot of people, I'm not going to get too much into the weeds on that, to be honest. I think a lot of these kids, it is somewhat of a gamble and a crapshoot. I mean, that's what drafting is. You hope to hit on some of these picks. Nothing is for sure, but we decide to go with what was likely the best player available according to most rankings, and draft the 6'7" monster from the KHL. There's a lot to like about this kid. Let's just get to a couple of the scouting reports. Here we have the first one. His length assist with killing plays defensively. Silayev projects as a matchup, shutdown defenseman at the NHL level. He's capable of moving pucks, but he won't provide much offense. I mean, that's fine. I'm not going to knock, defensemen for not providing much offense. Not everyone could be out there scoring points. Sometimes you need a shutdown guy. The next one, the left shot defenseman is one of the most intriguing players in the draft because of his size, 6'7", 211 pounds, and developing offensive side of his game. Silayev, who turned 18 on April 11th, more than a month after his final game, had the most points by an under-18 player in KHL history, topping Vladimir Tarasenko's 10 points in 38 games for, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, in 2008-09. Chris Peters from Flow Hockey. Silayev has a fluid skating stride for such a big player, can change direction with ease, and is able to close down on opposing forwards. He handles himself well along the walls, can lower the boom with a good body check, and is able to protect the net front. I mean, good stuff. We weren't very good at protecting our net front a lot last year. Anytime you could get a defenseman that's going to bring some size. Obviously, we lost a lot of size with Kevin Ball getting traded out to Calgary in that Markstrom deal. I truly believe Silayev is the best at actually playing defense, but he lacks the offensive stylings the others do. But the 6'7" blue liner averaged just under 20 minutes a night while blocking shots, landing hits, and showing off great skating for his size. And so you look, a lot of you guys have read all these scouting reports and see these things, and I've been seeing this kid high up on the list for weeks now. And I do believe there's a chance he turns out to be a good player. I think he is going to be a project. He's obviously not NHL ready. He has a deal for 2 more years in the KHL. It's very unclear whether the contract could be terminated and when he would be eligible to come here and all those things. And so that's a little murky at the moment. But my main issue, as you're all going to know, my main issue with this pick, and I think he could be a fine player. I think he could turn out to be a fine player. My issue with the pick, that's probably not going to come as a surprise to anyone who's been watching me for a little bit while now, is that this is 100% not a win now or immediate help type move. It just simply is not. Heading into the draft, you guys all know I wanted to trade the pick for either a win now piece, a proven commodity, bottom 6 guy with some extra pieces coming that way, or make a bigger splash, get a top 6 forward, or possibly trade it for a group of picks to replenish the 2025 first-rounder we shipped to Calgary in the Markstrom deal. I think there was a lot of things you could possibly do. Possibly have packaged it with Palat to somehow get him off our books. I thought there's a lot of creative ways you could go about using this pick other than drafting with it, but I guess, nothing materialized that Tom Fitzgerald thought was worthwhile, and so he decided that we are going to draft with it, and they went with the best available player on many boards. Not preferable by any stretch of the imagination, and doesn't help move the team as it is now closer to winning a Stanley Cup. The unfortunate situation is that, the kid is 18, so he's not going to be in the league anytime soon. We already have 2 very young guys in Luke Hughes and Shimo Nemitz on the blue line. We also have Seamus Casey in the pipeline. And so this guy is just not going to be on the Devils. And who knows with his contract situation, he might not be able to leave for a couple years from the KHL anyway. But the reality is this piece, Silayev, will never play, or for the most part, barring another year added on, we re-sign him for another year, he's never going to play in front of Jacob Markstrom. And so when you get Jacob Markstrom in the offseason, that is a win-now move. And I believe you should be firmly maneuvering as best as possible to obtain pieces to improve this team to win a cup during Jacob Markstrom's time here. Now, there's a lot of you that are talking smack in the comments and telling me I don't know shit and this, that, and the other thing. That's fine. You could disagree. Don't be a scum about it. You could disagree with class. But the reality is, you told Jacob Markstrom we're going to try to win a cup here. I mean, I believe that was, everyone's goal, to win a cup. And so this kid's never going to play in front of Markstrom. And I wanted to see win-now pieces. I really did. It's unfortunate that I think the organization at this point just might be looking to do their best to be competitive year in and year out without truly ever going all in to try to win the cup. And I think that's unfortunate because I think it will be very difficult to get to the promised land without, at some points, really making a push and making hard decisions to try to win the cup. So, I would love to know if teams had offered us anything for the 10th pick, what the best offer on the table may have been. But Fitz didn't see anything that was worthwhile trading for, and so we draft with it, and we take a kid that could be a great player. And I think, it is an exciting guy to have in the pipeline, I suppose. But at this point, it's just very hard for me to get excited about the future. I believe the window is open now, and a lot of you want to, again, talk shit in the comments and say all these things like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, and if you were the GM, you'd throw this, that, and the other thing. At some point, you have to start getting aggressive and start making win-now moves. Here's a poll question. I'd love to, first poll question of this video, place your answer in the comments, please. What will we see first? Will Silayev play his first NHL game first, or will Tom Fitzgerald get fired first? That is a great question. What do we see first? Fitzy fired or Silayev's first NHL game? If I was a betting man, I think at this point I'm going to go we see Fitzgerald fired before we see Silayev's first NHL game. So Tom Fitzgerald is out here drafting guys that he may never even see hit the ice while he's a GM. Because, he talked a big game this whole summer and leading up to it talking about big game hunting. Keefe went through the gauntlet. Then he was talking about we need to get heavier, edgier, more violent. And at least the one silver lining in all of this is that this kid Silayev seems to check off the boxes of heavier, edgier, more violent. So that's great. But the problem is that heavier, edgier, more violent player is not coming for at least a couple seasons. And so it's very hard for me to get excited about it now because when you get Jacob Markstrom, that is a win-now move, and you need to move that way. You need to keep maneuvering throughout the summer. So, again, I implore Tom Fitzgerald. He talked the talk. Now he must walk the walk. I really would have liked to see the number 10 pick used towards immediate help. It didn't happen, and now we have another kid in the pipeline, and that's great, and I think he could be a great player. It's just very hard for me to get excited about it today. That's the unfortunate reality. I am tired of being told the future is bright, the window's just opening. I mean, when is the window going to fully be open in the eyes of Fitzgerald and the Devils organization? Tell me when the window will fully be open. Are we talking about 2028? Are we talking about 2029? Everyone keeps obsessing about the Devils' youth. Cores age quickly. Guys go on. That's it. Retirement, trades, whatever it is. They go quick. Dougie Hamilton's 31. I have to imagine most people thought the Devils' window to win a cup included a roster that had Dougie Hamilton on it. I don't think we're talking about post-Dougie Hamilton's career as a Devil, correct? Tell me if I'm wrong. And so he's not getting any younger. Everyone just continues to age. And I don't think it's an extreme stance to say that I'm disappointed because the win-now moves are not happening. And the big game hunting, Markstrom seems like it may have been a start to it. I don't know, man. I don't know now. I did think a lot of the big game hunting was going to potentially be tied to that number 10 pick. That was not the case. This is a big kid. Great to have him in the system. Size. Heavy, edgy, more violent. Great. The problem is it's far down the line. And again, we're now living on hopes and dreams and the future talk. And I'm just tired of the future talk. How many years are you people that keep pounding your chest about, prospects and the future's bright? How many years can you possibly do that for before you're like, we need to start doing some moves to win now? The time is now. We have Markstrom for 2 years. So do we just get Markstrom to just keep us competitive and make the playoffs and try to maybe win a round? Is that the goal here? Or is the goal to truly win a Stanley Cup? Again, very disappointed the 10 pick wasn't used for immediate help, maybe a big splashy top 6 guy. It must not have been there, and so we picked the best available player. I can't completely kill the Devils for it, I suppose, because, I mean, what is your option then? If you're forced to draft with the pick, what, maybe draft a guy who potentially could be ready for the NHL next year? I mean, you know, if they really think Silayev's that much better than whoever else they were looking at, for one extra year, 1 year quicker rather, to get into the league, I don't know if it'd be worth even deviating from the pick. And so it's just an unfortunate situation. We're still waiting for the big game hunting to continue. Free agency opens on Monday, and there's a lot of names out there. And again, we've been rumored to Pesci forever. If somehow he does end up here, I would be so curious as to how all those stories and leaks came out so early. I don't recall the Devils ever being so heavily rumored to sign a free agent ever in my life, actually, because the Pesci stuff started, 4 or 5 days ago? So you're talking about, well over a full week before free agency. And if he does end up here, it's very interesting. Again, I've never remember any guy being that heavily rumored to the Devils in free agency. But anyway, that could be on the horizon, but there's tons of other guys I would rather have. Again, Fitzgerald said it himself, heavier, edgier, more violent, and that's what I want to see. I don't think he's going to make that many changes in the offseason, and so I'm hoping every guy he brings in checks those boxes because it is sorely needed. The Devils were pushed and smacked around all season long, and it's got to change, and that starts with bringing in a couple tougher guys. But let me know what you guys think in the comments about this pick. I thought there was a chance we may have seen a blockbuster trade, but I said yesterday, it just seems like we're going to lean towards drafting with it, and we did. And it's not anyone that's going to help Markstrom or the Markstrom era of the next 2 seasons. And so for that reason, it's just very hard for me not to be bummed out about it. I just, some moves the Devils make are for today, like Markstrom, like that's a win now move, right? And then we actually draft with the number 10 and get a kid that's not going to be here for minimum 2 years. So that's a futures move. And so I just think, I don't know, it just seems like who's driving the car? Who's driving the car? I don't know. Is it the analytics team? Is it Fitzgerald? At this point, I don't know what the hell's going on. It just seems like we are kind of an organization in disarray. And there's no consistency. So a stockpiled guy in the cupboard for down the line. Markstrom, old goalie, win now. And now I'm very curious to see what he does in free agency because that's really going to be the telltale. And with this pick, I am now expecting even more in free agency because no win now help came as a function of the number 10 pick. It wasn't dealt for any win now pieces. It wasn't used in any way to improve the team today. And it's unfortunate. I'm bummed out. I'm sure lots of others are. And a lot of you guys love looking at the prospects and we have this guy and that guy. And, it's just we've just been bad for so long where the future cannot be the bright spot anymore. The now needs to be the bright spot. It is very hard for me to sit here and be excited about this kid. It really is. And I waited a while to make the video because at first I was super pissed. I had to calm down a little bit. But I'm not surprised. And in the end, I would have been disappointed really no matter what if we drafted with the pick because it's not going to be immediate help. I know a lot of you mentioned a couple of the guys people thought were NHL ready, but thinking someone's NHL ready and them actually being NHL ready are two very different things. But even if some of the other guys would be ready next season, I mean, that would have been a little more tolerable, but I don't know how feasible any of this stuff is. This kid is clearly not going to be on the team anytime soon. Doesn't help Markstrom, and it's just a future's stashed away piece. In the end, if I have to summarize my feelings of it is, I guess, I like the player. I don't like the move. And I like the player because I think he will be a solid guy one day. But I don't like the move because I don't like using the pick today to get him, if that makes sense. Like the player, don't like the move. The timeline of it all just doesn't fit in with what I was hoping Fitzgerald was going to do, and that's unfortunate. He talked a big game. I am disappointed. I'm sure lots of you are, and I'm sure lots of you are happy about this. A lot of people love the prospects. I pay a little bit of attention to it, but I don't dwell on it as much as others do. But, it's not immediate win help. Free agency is coming up Monday. the schedule, the NHL schedule should be coming out any day now. I'll do a little review on that. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe plan some road trips early when the calendar comes out. I always like to try to get to at least a game or two on the road if possible. But let me know anything in the comments, guys. What do you think about this pick? Are you happy with it or are you not? Who do you think Fitz should try to get in free agency? Anything else? Devils hockey. Throw it out there in the comments. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little dejected right now, and I'm a little upset. But I did this to myself. I did it to myself. I should have just, been more prepared to draft with that pick and know that it's not going to be a win-down piece. And so now my expectations are that much higher for Fitzgerald in free agency, and I'm probably going to be disappointed. I probably will be let down, and I'll probably be more angry. But I have to say, in my defense, my anger, I think, will be justified because he talks so much smack. How are you going to coin the phrase big game hunting, man? Big game hunting, and then talk about heavier, edgier, more violent, and it's like, all right, now I'm getting very antsy because now the draft has come and gone. The number 10 pick wasn't utilized in the trade. We did draft with it. Cool. There's a nice player in the prospect pool. But now what are you doing to help this team for 24-25? And really, it's going to come in free agency or maybe another trade or two. But free agency is the main avenue now. And on Monday, guys are going up for sale. I'll have another video or two about that in the next couple of days. But there's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of guys potentially for the taking. Very curious to see who the Devils are going to be in on. But throw anything and everything out there in the comments. Who do you think we should go for in free agency? Yada, yada. What do you think about this? And I'm just dejected, guys. I will talk to you all soon. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.